It's Friday, October 30. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Carol Francis. Between June and the end of September, Jamaica earned more than US $250 million from tourism. This marks a strong recovery as the industry was almost made comatose by COVID-19. In March, the island closed its borders to incoming passenger traffic because of the pandemic threat. This resulted in losses of approximately $15 million daily. Speaking at Thursday's groundbreaking ceremony for new development at the shops at Rose Hall in St. James, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett confirmed the bounce back. He said the island's airlift commitments continue to increase. This, he says, is a good indicator of demand among travelers waiting or making bookings. December is just around the corner and marks the peak of the flu season. Here in Jamaica, the potential challenge that health authorities may face is the convergence of dengue, influenza, and COVID-19. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton spoke of this possible triple health threat at Thursday's virtual COVID-19 conversation press brief.
So we're trying to jump ahead of what could be a triple public health threat facing the population: COVID-19, dengue, and the flu. The triple threat is one that we must first and foremost be aware of, and then make the necessary interventions to ensure the best public health outcomes for the people of Jamaica. If we are complacent, in addition to our COVID-19 cases, we could have, I am told by the experts, more than 300 dengue cases and 3 to 5 dengue deaths each week. This is a modeling that has been done, which we hope we will not realize, but it is possible.
National epidemiologist Dr. Karen Webster-Carr and Medical Officer of Health for St. James, Dr. Master Johnson Campbell, also weighed in on the potential hazards.
It's the time of the year that we usually see dengue, influenza, and if you really think about it, gastroenteritis. And if we should say, look at the number of cases that we had for dengue last year and influenza-like illness and transpose it and put it on to the rest of the year, then the lighter shade is what we would have. And this would be significant challenges on the health system with more admissions and more deaths.
Certainly the triple threat is a concern for all of us, but the public health measures are in place to help us to get through this. So you will have persons who will, because all the symptoms overlap and they seem to be the same and you're not quite sure what it is. And we have persons calling into our center and they complain of the illness and you're not sure whether it is dengue or it is COVID.
Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Melody Ennis, says Jamaica received its flu vaccine shipment last week and it will be made available to the public.
Here in Jamaica, received our vaccine shipment just last week and we are distributing, so we should have the vaccine in our facilities in short order. Now, we have prioritized the groups of persons who should receive the vaccine. However, we are encouraging all Jamaicans, if you can, please seek out and do get the influenza vaccine. It's important to receive this vaccine because during this time, it will, one, shorten the duration of any flu-like illness that you may get. The severity will certainly be lessened.
We now get an update from health authorities on the latest COVID-19 numbers.
As at Friday morning, the island's COVID-19 death toll stands at 205. 3 deaths were reported over the past 24 hours. They are an 86-year-old female from Clarendon, an 83-year-old female from St. Catherine, and a 41-year-old female from St. James. 78 new COVID-19 cases were reported on Thursday. The tally of cases now stands at 9,005, of which 4,237 are active cases. 13 recoveries were also reported on Thursday. That total now stands at 4,442. It also disclosed that there are 95 patients in hospital. There are 14 moderately ill and 3 critically ill patients at this time. Melvin Pennant, PBCJ News.
All COVID-19 measures under the Disaster Risk Management Act have been extended until November 2020. Some of the measures have been extended to November 16, others to November 30, 2020. The island-wide curfew from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. daily has been extended until November 16. Persons 65 and over must continue to stay at home, leaving only for necessities until November 30. The limit for public gatherings remain at 15. The ban on funerals, parties, and other events continues, so too the 15-person rule for burials. Churches, hospitals, and nursing homes will continue to operate under the same protocols. The current protocols under the Controlled Re-Entry Program for both residents and visitors remain until November 16, while the requirements for pre-testing and quarantine remain the same.
We are paying very close attention to the concerns being raised by the quick service industry and the restaurant and beverage industry, that they are not able to service demand. People who are going home from work would want to be able to get food to take home. And we are examining certain measures that could be put in place during the curfew hours that would allow for the delivery of food during that period of time. We have not yet finalized those measures. So at the next iteration of these measures, we should be able to have in place measures that would see fast food outlets and other food outlets being able to provide food service during the curfew hours for a defined period. That is now being contemplated, and we believe that once we have finalized that would assist the industry in recovering even more.
Fearful that the Llandowey Bridge, a vital structure that connects several communities, including Ramble and Llandowey, could give way, residents have reportedly put some makeshift measures in place. They reportedly used river shingles and boulders that were in the riverbed to shore up the bridge.
It was done by the residents despite the appeal to the authority weeks ago concerning some adjustments. Nothing has been done from the authority, and we are asking that they recognize how important it is for them to come and ensure that the citizens of Ramble and Llandowey are satisfied. We are asking them to ensure that we are equal persons like Kingston and St. Andrew, and they must come and ensure that we are comfortable.
Some residents are concerned that the makeshift measures might not hold up, given the forecast for heavy rains over the next 4 days. They are appealing to the engineers of the National Works Agency to make urgent repairs to the bridge before disaster strike. Archives are said to be the repository of a society's memory, knowledge, and identity. Institutions that do not have a comprehensive preservation and archiving strategy stand to lose priceless records, as there is no possibility of recreating them. In Jamaica, unique audiovisual records that trace the history of the island is housed in publicly managed archives, including here at the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, PBCJ. More from Alan Samuels.
Audiovisual or AV records include film, photographs, video and sound recordings in analog and digital formats. They are fast becoming obsolete. The window of opportunity to convert AV records for long-term preservation is closing fast. Experts estimate that it will close in less than 20 years. The government of Jamaica is committed to expanding and enhancing the creation, use and preservation of audiovisual content in Jamaica.
The preservation and promotion of memory in all its forms continues to resonate among the pillars of growth and sustainable development within the cultural heritage sector. Much that we celebrate today has been carved out by way of our creative heritage by largely oral transfer. We have been able to retain memories of our past that have equipped us to confront the realities of our present and craft a secure and sustainable future for generations to come. The inception of audiovisual means and the strengthening of our capacities in the area have lent even greater credence and solidity to our documentary heritage. In accordance with the technological development we have experienced, we have been able to consolidate our audiovisual content and heritage for posterity.
Audiovisual records both complement and supplement paper records. They are great funds of knowledge and help preserve the cultural mores of a society.
As we confront the COVID-19 global pandemic, with all its restrictions on social and in-person gathering and interaction, we are even more reminded of the power of audiovisual content creation, preservation, and promotion. Indeed, as more of our people are forced to shelter at home over long periods, the challenge to provide recreational and socially uplifting content as a conduit to social and mental health has caused us to take on more and more audiovisual creation. For example, in many instances, individuals, companies, and institutions have been able to promote reruns of earlier audiovisual content by way of television and other platforms for entertainment and education of our people.
World Audiovisual Day is celebrated in October. It places under the microscope the situation that currently exists and the need to take a proactive stance to preserve priceless audiovisual recordings. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Marlon Samuels.
The top job of the Jamaica Police Federation will soon be vacant. This follows the promotion of current chairman, Sergeant Patray Rowe, to the rank of inspector. The Federation represents cops up to the rank of inspector. However, the executive position for an inspector has already been filled, which means that Rowe will have to vacate office. In today's extended edition of the Business Report, host Gabriel Thompson looks at the online platform offered by the Tax Administration of Jamaica.
In Thursday's trading session, the JSE combined index declined by 2,781 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 83 stocks, of which 40 advanced, 33 declined, and 10 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 31 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica, Access Financial Services, and Blue Power Group Limited. Stocks declined for 1834 Investments Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company, and Barita Investments. Trading firm were Berger Paints Jamaica, CAC 2009.5% preference shares, and Iron Rock Insurance Company. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited was the volume leader with 10.8 million units, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 2.1 million units, and Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 1.4 million units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Thursday, October 29, ended trading at $147.57. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $111.49. The pound sterling traded for $190.70, and the euro ended trading at $173.46. Global oil prices moved in and out of negative territory on Friday, but remained on course for a second monthly fall as rising coronavirus cases in Europe and the United States heightened concerns over fuel consumption. Brent crude futures gained 3 cents to $37.68 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 8 cents to $36.25 a barrel. As we continue to live in an ongoing pandemic, businesses are implementing measures to adapt. The Tax Administration Jamaica T.A.J. was no stranger to online platforms, but says more changes are coming soon.
There's a popular adage you probably know. It says there are two certainties in life, death and taxes. In an ongoing pandemic, death might be a possibility if you aren't careful, but taxes, those remain a certainty. This is where the Tax Administration Jamaica T.A.J. and its e-services platform comes in.
T.A.J. is actually the entity that has responsibility as the government's main agency for collecting what we call domestic taxes. And domestic as opposed to what you'd pay at customs. That's simply what it is. But in addition to the main taxes that you would be familiar with, your income tax, GCT, those sorts of taxes, property taxes as you mentioned, there are also a number of other services that we offer. So you're talking about driver's license renewal, you speak about registering your motor vehicle. So those motor vehicle services, related services, we also facilitate, and we partner with a number of agencies in terms of what it is that we do collect. So from a business perspective, there's a one-stop shop that's accessible through T.A.J, online and inline, but we prefer you to do online, where we facilitate business persons doing all their business-related taxes, their statutory deductions can be done through T.A.J.
The T.A.J. says there's been an increase in the use of its e-services platform, particularly for business operators. So why should you go online?
So we would want to see more persons using the online to pay their property taxes. If we have more persons using the services that are available online, what that will mean is that we would have less volume of persons coming into our offices, and for the persons who have to come in for those services that are not yet online, and we're working on some of those. So for those services that are not yet online, if more persons use the opportunity for those services available online, then they would not be in the space inline. So what we're saying to persons, use the online instead of coming inline. You spoke about the waiting, and that's a vexed question or a vexed issue. You go online, there's no need for you to wait. There's a suite of services that we have available online for the average person. I'm not talking about a business person now. I'm talking about an average person, a person who is employed, a person who even has their own business. Time is money. Plus, you don't want to have to, you want to minimize the amount of time that you're out, going out and about. So what we would say to persons, use the online services to make payments for things like renewing your driver's license, paying your certificate of fitness fee, paying your traffic ticket if you happen to get a traffic ticket. These are things that you can do online. Property tax. As a matter of fact, property tax right now is the #1 tax type in terms of volume of transactions in our offices.
The e-services platform is also popular among business persons.
They love it because it's simple, it's cost effective. There's no need for them to come in to do their business related transactions. And as a matter of fact, they can actually log on to their T.A.J. account and their e-services account, and they can actually see all of what is happening. So they can see every payment that had been made, history of every payment. They can see every letter that we send them. It's there. So everything is on the, so if there is a letter, a notice, it can be pushed to their web account and they can see whatever is there. They can make web requests for things also. So For example, for TCC, if they need a TCC, there's no need for them to come into the office to get that TCC. They apply online through the web service, and the TCC, once it's approved, will be pushed back to them on their e-services account, and they'll be able to have that available to them. So there's no need for them to come into office. For business persons, all their tax returns are filed online. So they have responsibilities or obligations to file monthly returns for their payrolls. They have their annual returns, which they also have to file, their GCT returns, which are monthly, and all of these returns are in fact filed online. In terms of payments for the business persons and those business-related taxes, those too can be paid online. And about 50% of our business persons are in fact making their payments online. Because whereas we can mandate how somebody files, we can't mandate how somebody pays.
Here's how you can create your T.A.J. e-services account. Step 1. Go to www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. Step 2. Select the Client Login mini banner ad or simply select Login in the upper right-hand corner. Step 3. Select Create an account. Step 4. Enter your first, middle, and last name in the fields provided. Create a username and provide an email address. Select your gender and complete text verification. Step 5. Read the T.A.J's privacy, security, and accessibility policy and create a password reminder. That's it. You're now on the Tax Administration Jamaica's e-services page. On the left, you'll see a list of taxes you can pay online as well as other services. Feeling uncertain about completing transactions online? There's a how-to section on the menu at the top of the page.
And that's it for this edition of the Business Report on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
In regional news, food security remains a priority for all nations. Over in Trinidad and Tobago, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has hailed the farming sector for what he says is its bright future.
The sentiments of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, who visited several livestock, poultry and agricultural farms in Tobago on Thursday. He was particularly pleased to see that Tobago's soil is once again producing root crops.
I was really impressed with what they're producing and their production systems. Clearly they're getting some good technical advice from somewhere, I think, and they're putting it into practice. And most importantly, I thought we had lost all of the yam production possibilities in Tobago, and I was surprised to meet a yam farmer who had got his plants from Jamaica by way of contact in Grenada and had quite an establishment on the hillside and is wanting to expand.
The Prime Minister is also satisfied that farmers in Tobago are passing on their expertise and keeping the younger generation engaged in the agriculture industry. He's encouraging the Tobago House of Assembly to lend assistance to farmers who may not have ready access to lands.
In order to expand the production, it would be important to note that the T.A.J. could use and would use state land to get these farmers onto better tenure on state land so they could invest in a more sustainable way. And whether it is through the ADB or the T.A.J's own projects, whatever it is.
Meanwhile, Chief Secretary of Tobago House of Assembly, Ansel Dennis, is excited by the farming activities and possibilities in Tobago.
And the Prime Minister was able to see firsthand what is happening. So, of course, it is a pleasure to be here with the Prime Minister in beautiful, sunny Tobago, seeing what is happening with agriculture in Tobago. And, of course, we are on our way to once again not only feeding Tobago, but feeding Trinidad and Tobago.
In Barbados, political candidates vying for the upcoming North by-election faced off on the debate stage on Thursday. More in this report from Barbados Today.
Political candidates contesting the St. George North by-election in just under 2 weeks faced off on a range of issues on a national televised debate last night. Alex Mitchell of the Bajan Free Party, Grenville Phillips of Solutions Barbados, and Tony Moore of the Barbados Labour Party tackled issues including representation, unemployment, the economy, and agriculture. A major concern in the constituency that has been discussed on the campaign trail is the issue of pit toilets, and the candidates made it clear this matter is a priority.
What we got to do, you already listed the problem, the solution, bring the toilet into the house, even if there isn't any water there right now. Get it there to move the people from outside. We want to spend a lot of money on COVID-19, but we got bigger issues in here than that right now. So we have to redesign some of these houses.
There are two issues there really. If people have been allowed to build in groundwater protection areas, then they are not allowed to have water. And therefore, there's no water really there to flush these tanks, and hence the pit toilets. That can be solved, because I'm an environmental engineer, I'm also a planner. We can collect all the water, we can give them water, bring the toilets into the house, but collect all the sewage in a tertiary treatment plant, like how we do at hotels. We design these systems, and then get that out of the area, because you don't want that contaminating your groundwater reserves. We do plan to have a no-profit construction company, and therefore people are able then to have these things done at cost.
This is not only a situation in St. George North, and it's unfortunate that St. George North has been highlighted in this by-election as an area where it seems that there are only pit toilets in St. George North. But we will be moving to address this. The manifesto spoke about 5,000. In more recent times, actual figures suggest that the numbers across the island, the number is closer to 1,200, and I do believe that with my representation and with my commitment to the union's mission as well of improving the way of life for all, I would be pushing to see that government rolls out a plan that can see the eradication of pit toilets across Barbados within the next 3 to 4 years.
In sports, we are on the green. The Jamaica Open Golf Tournament tees off December 12 to 16 at Trial in Hanover. We caught up with Jamaica Golf Association President T.A.J, who gave us an update.
What the Jamaica Golf Association needs is sponsorship to develop the game. Not just people going out to play at private clubs, but to introduce the game in schools and also develop a good junior program, which takes a lot of money. And also for the national teams. National teams need money, and we have to fund it. Both coaching, airfares, uniforms, all the costs that goes with sending national teams away. But we try to be self-sufficient. We do our own fundraising. We also use our flagship event, which is the Jamaica Open. From the Jamaica Open, we do make some money, which stretches to do development of the game and also fund the national programs.
We also spoke to Junior Golf Chairperson Alison Reed.
We have approximately 80 children around the island playing golf consistently. We have 18 events a year, including an inter-school. And we offer clinics, both rules clinics, short game clinics, and camps. So what we try to do is make golf as inclusive as possible for all age groups. Because what we've found is that the younger they start, we can kind of hook them if we make it fun and if we make it challenging. We also have PJ trained coaches on the island who have become very actively involved. They offer very affordable clinics for the children so they can improve their games. We also, the inter-school program that we started 3 years ago has taken off. We now have 6 schools that compete, both at the elementary prep school level and the high school level.
And that's our package. Join us again on Monday, same time, same place, for more news and sports right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.